something to refer back to. So you're going to see this. Obviously, during the SATs, you're going to get your own login information, I believe. So for now, both of these toggles are turned on. You're just going to click sign in. Okay, select grade level. Everyone's going to choose just for now grade 11. Okay, then start the digital test. Okay, some of you have been through this or seen this already. This is just to reiterate the importance of going through each of these pages. So reading and seeing, you could do accommodations for your screen here. Okay, you could change a few things. The mouse pointer you could adjust, black and white. The zoom, if you want to zoom even more, you can. I'm just going to click select. Then you could view the test settings again if you wanted to, but I'm just going to start, okay? Let me just lower that. Okay, so they start with the reading test and writing test. Some of the tools, once you go through, like if I click next, if you toggle down this questions bar, it shows you the questions that you have in that section, okay? The one that looks like a piece of paper is the instruction screen, okay? And these are the questions here. You could flag them if you need to. The triangle symbolizes that are not answered, all right? You could go next, back, save. Then you have your reference, which when we get to math, I'll tell you about, and calculator and all that stuff. So I'm just going to keep clicking next, writing, until we get to the math section, which is in this one, the last one. There is a non-calc and calculator section for this, okay? So here's your directions, okay? Here's your directions. The use of the calculator is permitted only on the math test calculator portion. All variables and expressions used represent real numbers. So in general, there is no negative numbers. No answers that are negatives, okay? They tell you that from the beginning and throughout every direction that you see, okay? So there's no negative answers. Then you have your reference guide, okay? When you click next, that reference guide disappears from the screen. However, if you click on this little icon on the right-hand side, the reference, it pops up for you, wherever you are, okay? So here's the same like formula sheet that you would get, okay? And then we go through. So multiple choice, very straightforward, okay? Obviously you click whatever the right answer is and you do it out. Again, if you need the reference guide, you could just click here, okay? I want to show you the calculator is the Desmo screen. This is what they give you. So it's very important to bring your own calculator, okay? It's very important. And this is for juniors for SATs next week, okay? Then you could do, if you click on notes, you could type yourself a little note, okay? And then come back to it if you like. If you need a line focus, it kind of highlights specific pieces, all right? You could zoom out, zoom in. Then you could look at the directions again, okay? It gives you the directions tab. All right, so multiple choice, very straightforward. This is what you see. Oops, sorry, I went through. Multiple choice, blah, 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 fine. This is where your short answer is where it's important to know how to enter your answers, okay? Only numbers 0 through 9, the decimal point and fraction line can be entered in the answer box. No question has a negative answer, okay? Some problems may have more than one correct answer. Such cases, enter only one answer. Okay, mixed numbers. 3.5 is not going to fly. You have to write it as an improper fraction or as a decimal, okay? So for juniors only, this number 4 and number 5 and number 6 are the key pieces that you need to remember when you are entering in your answers for the math section, okay? Mixed numbers, should be entered as a decimal, okay? Because it reads 31 halves, okay? That's what it reads as. Decimal, the answer box allows for 4 characters total. If you obtain a decimal answer with more than 4 characters, it must be either rounded or truncated. But 4 characters must be entered. So, this is the acceptable way. You could always gain this back, though. You could always look at this again by the direction tab, okay? So you could always refer back to this if you are not sure. Okay, so decimals and fractions have to be entered this way. Okay, unacceptable is this. Okay, so if we go through and you enter, they give you a little keypad to enter in your answer. And again, please make sure, if you're not sure, go back to this. Okay, refer back to the acceptable way or unacceptable way. Okay, because you don't want to get marked wrong on a silly technicality. Okay, right? So this is why I'm going through it with you, because this is new. This whole section is new. Being on an online platform is new. So when you're going through this, always refer back to the directions if you need to. Okay? You could flag these questions to mark for review. So when you go to the questions tab, it's flagged for you. Okay? So the questions, I would do this at the end of each section to make sure you answered everything. Okay? The sheets of paper are the directions for each section. Okay, does that make sense? Okay? I know you guys will do fine and follow along and, you know, do what you're supposed to. It's just, I was concerned in terms of how the answers had to be answered here on the digital platform. Okay? So definitely be very careful when you're answering. If you're not sure, go back to the directions to look. Okay? And again, please do not forget your calculator, because this is the one that they have for you. Okay? And they have the keyboard here if you need it to. Which isn't bad, but you rather have your handheld calculator, which you're used to anyway. Okay? Any questions? Now, I'm not sure what next week is going to bring in terms of downstairs. Those of you that are being relocated into the Lower Webster, we don't know. Okay, this is the first time being run through. There's 3 days of this. So if there's any issues, you know, whatever you have, sign in should be no problem. It's going through the test. Okay, just going through the test. Who knows what's going to occur? It could move very smoothly, but it's totally different, okay, than your sit-down SAT test, okay? And it should be shorter. Any questions? Of this is a recap of our exponent properties, okay? We have a bunch of different properties here, all right? We start with the product of powers property, which again, if we're multiplying with the same base, and I mentioned base to you when we're looking at our exponents or even numbers. So if I have this scenario, what am I doing? Good, you add the exponents. So in this example, x cubed times x to the 4th, what do we get? Go ahead, x to the 7th. And this is another one you will see. Say if I have 2/3 times 2 to the 4th, 2 is your base. So you end up with 2 to the 7th. Okay? How about the next one? What do we do? This is the quotient of powers. What do we do? Let's see. Mia. Good. X to the m minus n. So this example, what do we end up getting? Tyler. X to the 6th power. And another example for this, if I have something like this example, so I would definitely write this down. You do not want to cross out the 2's. Incorrect. If you cross out the 2's, you're wrong. Okay? The exponents are attached. So You're still subtracting your exponents, but you have a base of 2. Okay? It doesn't cancel out to 1. Okay? This is a big mistake that I see all the time. All right? How about the next one? If multiply. Okay? What do we get? Go ahead, Ave. X to the 12th. Another example. What would you do in this scenario? Kennedy? Okay. So when you have a product, okay, raised to the 6th power, it's split in 2. Okay, so please do not forget to raise that 2 to the 6th power. Anything to the 0 power is what? 1. All right. Then we have our negative exponents. If you see it, this is over 1. In the numerator, where does it go to be positive? Yeah, Lucy. For which one, honey? Here? Because the exponent is only touching the x. The squared is only touching the x. But the 6, 2 in the x squared. Yep. All right, negative exponents. Good. 1 over x to the n. How about y to the negative 2nd? Camilla. 1 over y squared. Good. Then if we have a negative exponent in the denominator, Liam, this next one, what would it be? Okay. Chris. xn, if it's in the denominator, to make it positive, it goes to the top. Okay. Then for this one, you have 2 over y to the negative 6. What is the only thing moving? Anthony. 2 stays the same. Y to the negative 6. 2 is not affected by the negative exponent. So the only thing that moves is y to the 6. Okay? So we're going to try some practice. Okay? Just a little recap because I want to make sure we're good. 2, 4, 6. Just circle as we go. Just do those for now. Okay, so 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 15, 18, 19. Okay, we'll go over those. Sure. Oh, let's go through these. Looking at number 2, okay, you have to take care of your exponents first. Okay, you have to take care of your exponents first. So what do we do in this case? Yeah. Multiply. So we have 5 to the negative 6. Can we have negative exponents? No. So the 2 is standalone. The negative exponent is only affecting the 5. Okay? So you should end up with 2 over 5 to the 6. Okay? You could do out 5 to the 6, but at this point, I just want to make sure you understand the properties of exponents. You could simplify it later. Okay? So 2 over 5 to the 6 is what you should get. We should not be multiplying 2 times 5. Okay? We want to take care of our exponents first. How many of you did get that for number 2? Okay. Number 4 is correct on the board. You have 2 different bases, but it's raised to an exponent. So each base gets raised to the third. Excellent. So again, 3 cubed, 7 cubed. You could simplify later. Now number 6. What do we have for an answer there? Do not multiply negative 9 times negative 9. Yeah.
I feel like I could go further, but I have negative 9 times negative 9 to the power of what to the third power.
Same thing. What you just said is the same thing. That's on the board. You can. Take negative 9 to the fourth, because this one has an exponent of what? 1. So it's negative 9 to the fourth. Now, if you notice, the negative 9 is in parentheses, okay? The negative 9 is in parentheses, so if we were to simplify negative 9 to the fourth, you will end up with a positive number. If you do not have parentheses, then the 4 will only be attached to the 9, okay? So make sure when you're dealing with negative numbers and exponents that it's in parentheses, all right? Number 7 is correct on the board, 8 to the 9th, okay? Number 8 is also correct on the board, x to the 10th. Number 9 is partially there. What are we forgetting? Camilla? Yep. Okay. Okay. So remember, 4a and b, good job. 4a and b are all together through multiplication. So all 3 of those pieces are separate and should be raised to the 5th power. So do not forget about the 4 in front. Yeah, Luz.
So far, just write the number in a question like that, like question like this question you did do 5.
The number is by itself here. It's not attached to an exponent. Okay, so here the number is already raised to an exponent. There's nothing in front of that. Okay, good questions. Number 10 is correct. You are subtracting and getting x squared. Excellent. Number 12 is also correct. Get 1. Now number 15. Okay, this whole thing is raised to the 0 power, which equals what? 1. You bring the negative down, it's negative 1. Right? You end up with negative 1. All right? That whole set of parentheses is raised to the 0 power. So it automatically cancels everything out and it equals 1. All right? Then we have 18 is correct on the board. Okay? You're multiplying 4 times negative 3, you get x to the negative 12th. Negative 7 times negative 3 is the 21st. The only thing negative is our x. Y to the 21st over x to the 12th, which is exactly correct on the board. Okay? And last but not least, number 19. Okay? Number 19, we see 2 negatives. Where do they go? Up. So we have, which again is correct on the board, we end up with x to the 14th times y to the 11th. Okay? Some people, some mistakes also that I've seen, switch these two. Please do not do that. Only switch the negative exponent. Okay? All right, we're going to try a few more. Wasn't too satisfied with that one. All right, 16, 22, 23, 24, and 25. Okay? Try those few before moving on. All right, 16. It's looking pretty good. There's one last thing you can do. Can we divide 16 divided by 4? Yes. Okay, that is correct what you see on the board though. We have 16 8 to the 6th over 4 b to the 8th, which we could just take one step further. Okay, so with this, with 16, you could simplify what's inside first if you wanted to. Meaning, 4 divided by 2 is 2a cubed b to the 4th. Then make sure you're squaring all three of those terms. So 2 squared, a to the 6th, b to the 8th, you'll get the same thing what's on the board. Okay? Then 22, excellent. X to the 7th, negative exponent goes to the top, and you end up with x to the 7th. Good job. And then 23, excellent as well. 5 minus 4 is x, and then y squared. Y to the 0 equals 1, so we don't even have to worry about it. And 24 cancels out to 1. You're equal to 6, so excellent job on the board. And then 25, okay? 25. Remember, each piece is being raised to the negative third. So you have 10 to the negative third, x to the negative 15th, y to the negative 9th. So all three of these are going where? It could be a decimal. Where should they go, though, in terms of a fraction? The bottom. Excellent. So 10 cubed, okay, to make positive. Now, what I'm noticing is we're multiplying 10 times negative 3. That's incorrect. Okay, I saw it before as well. It's 10 raised to the negative third power. So that means in the denominator, 1 over 10 times 10 times 10. Okay, not 10 times 3. Right? Any questions with your properties of exponents? Yeah, Liam? Okay. So, now if you turn the page, obviously kicking it up a notch. Okay? I want you to remember your properties, fractions. What do we do when we have to add? Add fractions. What do we have to do? Nick? Same denominator. So in this first one, what's our common denominator? 12. Okay. So I know both my denominators have to be 12. What do I have to do with the first fraction? Well, times 4. You got 8. Multiply 4, top and bottom. How about the second fraction? What do we do? Yeah. Times 3. Now we're ready to add. And I want you to leave it as is. 17 over 12. Okay. Now when it comes to multiplying, you would do the same thing if you were subtracting. When it comes to multiplying, what do we have to do? Well, straight across. Excellent. 6 over 20, and then see if it could be reduced. Can this be reduced? To what? Nick? 3 over 10. Good. Okay. Then in number 3, that 5 by itself is over what? 1. So now can I still just multiply across? Yeah. 10 over 3. Good. Yeah, Camilla. 5 times 3 plus 2. Why would you do that? For if you wanted to 5 plus. That's if you were, oh, okay. That's if you had mixed numbers, okay? If you wanted to get back to your improper fraction, like if you had 3 and 2/3, 3 times 3, 9 plus 2, and then it's over the denominator. Okay. Great way to ask, though. Stop me for a second. Good. Good. I'm glad we figured it out. So, with that, okay, your properties of fractions is now going to combine with your properties of exponents. Okay? Properties of fractions is now going to combine with your properties of exponents. So we're going to recall. What do we do in this case? Yeah. Add. What do we get? -1. Can I have a negative exponent? So this becomes 1/4. Number 5, what do I have to do? Multiply. Good. 3 to the 4th. So now, if you look at number 6, we have x to the 1/2 raised to the 3rd power. So what do we do in that case? Think of your properties of exponents. L? Okay, okay. But then you would just add them, okay? If you expand it out, you're correct. If you wanted to expand it out. But think of the shortcut in terms of properties of exponents here. When you have an exponent raised to a power. Chris? What would you do? Okay, let's backtrack. Here we multiplied, right? Would you be doing the same thing here? All it's saying is 1/2 times 3. Do we just multiply across? Yeah. So we end up with x to the 3/2. Think of your properties of exponents. This is the same thing. Just one's a fraction and one is a whole number. You're just multiplying across. Okay? Let's try a few examples. Okay? In this first one, what do we do? You add them. So your base 3 stays the same. 4/4, which is just 1. Good. Okay. Number 2. We should be doing what with our exponents? If you see division, what do? Subtract. But what do we need before we're able to subtract? Common denominator, which would be what? 5. So, we're keeping this guy the same. How can I rewrite 2 with a denominator of 5? Tyler? 10/5. Good. Now I'm able to subtract. Yep. 10 to the 8/5. Okay. Okay. Number 3. We have 4 to the 1/2 times 4 to the 1/3. Now you could do this a bunch of different ways. You want to get rid of that exponent. So what do? Yeah. Multiply. Okay. So 1/2 times 2, 1. 1/3 times 2. 2/3. Now, from this case, what can I do? What should I do? Yeah, Camille. Because that exponent's attached. Go ahead, Tyler. How did you get the 5 over 3? What did you do? Excellent. Good. Nice job, Todd. Good job. Okay. Does everyone see how we got 4 to the 5/3? Yes? Okay. Now for number 4. How many terms do we have inside the parentheses? 3. Excellent. We have 3, x squared, and y to the 7th. All raised to the 1/3. So what does that mean? What do we do? What do you mean?
Like, it would be like 3 to the 1/3. And for x, you'd have to be 2 times 12.
Good. To get what?
2 to 3.
Good. Keep going.
Okay.
Perfect. Good. Excellent. Okay. Nice job. Okay. So remember that 1/3 goes to all 3 pieces. All right. We're going to try some practice. Okay. On the next page, 1 through 12. Okay. 1 through 12. And some reminders up here in terms of fractions. Okay. 1 through 12. Go through these. Okay, so the first one, is good. Okay, 8 to the 4/5 is correct. Good, excellent. Number 2 is just x. Nice job. Number 3 is just a. Correct. And number 4 is x to the 5/12. And number 5, b to the 14/15. How many of you did get 1 through 5 correct? Great. Okay. Number 6. Okay, this was a little bit tricky. Okay, for number 6, because you have 2x, x to the 4/5, and then you have the z just hanging out here. What do you have to do with your x's? Add them. But what do we need for this x? Which would be? Instead of 1, how would I write it as common denominator? 5 over 5. To get 2x to the 9/5 z to the 1/5. That's as far as you could go. Okay? That was a tricky one. Okay? In terms of, you have a lot of things going on there. All right? Number 7, x to the 1/3, y to the 2/3. Good. And then 9 is what? Anybody? What is number 9? Ella? A to the 6th. Awesome. Good. Number 8 was a to the 1/6. Good job. Number 10 is just a. Excellent. And number 11, x to the 2/5 is correct, but the 3 should still remain where? Yeah. In the denominator. Okay? That wasn't affected by any sort of exponent, so it just stays where it is. Okay? Then this is correct. For number 12, the last thing we could just do is multiply 3 times 4 and keep everything else the same. Okay? 3 times 4, and then a to the 8th, b to the 3/5. Yeah, Luz? 10? Sure. Okay, number 10, you have a to the negative 1/2 times negative 2. Okay, think of your exponents. If I write it negative 1/2 times negative 2, you're just multiplying straight across. Okay, so you get a 2 over 2, just say. Camilla? 11, okay. Number 11 is x to the 4/5, 3x to the 2/5. Remember, the 3 and x to the 2/5 are separate. So you're just looking at reducing those guys. Okay, when you subtract 4/5 minus 2/5, x to the 2/5, the 3 stays where it is. Okay, makes sense? Yep. B to the 3/5 in 12, it's 6/10, which reduces to 3/5. So with this, we have 3, 2a fourth, b to the 3/10 over 2. Okay, the 3 stays where it is. Each of these pieces is raised to the 2. So you have 2 squared, a to the 8th. This is 2/1. You just multiply across. 6/10. 6/10 reduces to 3/5, and then you just multiply. Okay? Yeah. It's since when you distribute, there's normally a plus sign or a minus sign in between. So here you're just multiplying your two whole numbers together. Okay? If I had, and that's a great question, if I had 4 plus a whatever, then I would distribute all the way through. But since these are all multiplication, you just multiply the first two together. Okay? All right. Any questions? Okay. We're going to do some practice on all exponents and this rational exponents stuff before moving into rewriting. So we're good, but still not quite there yet. Okay? So if you turn to page 11, and I tried to make this a little bit larger, but it kind of made a little bit grainy. I don't do your best. I will post a different copy on Google Classroom if it's a little too hard to see, but this is the best we got. So on page 11, okay, on page 11, pay attention to the numbers. And I suggest probably doing this on a separate sheet of paper just so you have room. And I want you to work together if you want to, obviously. Okay, 3 through 37 odds, just properties of exponents. And then 39 through 46, it's the rational exponents. You have 20 minutes in class, okay, to get this done, or at least start it. You should get the majority of the practice done in class, all right? But since there's not so much room, you might want to use a separate sheet of paper so you could see your work, okay?